Well, now to a Fox 5 exclusive, a big shakeup inside a city agency in charge of your safety.
A special unit that's trained to deal with weapons of mass destruction may be doing some self-destructing of its own and making some very big bucks along the way.
Fox 5's John Deutzman uncovered the problems and now says the change is on the way.
Mustafa, how you doing? John Deutzman from Channel 5. How are you?
As we told you in December, this city employee, Mustafa Fauzi, racked up more than $100,000 in overtime in a 12-month period. Add that to his salary of more than $92,000, the total, more than $193,000, made him one of the highest-paid city employees.
John Deutzman from Channel 5. How are you?
Last year, this guy, Enzo Catanzaro, made more than $59,000 in overtime, had a salary of more than $80,000 for a not-too-shabby total of close to $140,000 last year.
Is there any way I could talk to you, please?
For years, Fauzi was the chief and Catanzaro the number 2 in charge of the Division of Emergency Response and Technical Assessment, an elite unit in the city's Department of Environmental Protection, a group that responds to all kinds of emergencies that could involve hazardous materials. They also manage what's called the Right to Know program, a sensitive computer database designed to show where hazardous materials are stored and located in the city.
And ever since 9/11, this group of scientists and chemists have been thrown into another role to be able to respond to a terrorist attack involving hazardous materials. They also have to safeguard that database of dangerous stuff to make sure it doesn't get in the wrong hands. And this unit receives about $9 million a year in Homeland Security money.
In fact, if you look at this list of people in the unit obtained by Fox 5, you will see WMD next to their names. That supposedly means they know how to deal with weapons of mass destruction.
So who are these people who have your life and the lives of your loved ones in their hands? The DEP tells us their primary mission is public safety. But insiders who work for the DEP tell Fox 5 this unit has for years been run by 2 loose cannons who love that overtime.
Fauzi and Catanzaro, as supervisors, not only scheduled overtime for people in their unit, but grabbed lots of it themselves, a practice the DEP defended because people in the unit are paid to be on call. Many times they're on call from home in case an emergency happens. According to this list, a response schedule obtained by Fox 5, Fauzi was on call a whopping 112 hours in just 1 week in July last year. Catanzaro tallied up 111 on-call hours in 1 week in July.
Now, maybe these guys deserve all that overtime because of their vital emergency role, but what you're about to hear sounds more like a Three Stooges plot than an effort to keep the community safe.
The city, Fauzi, and Catanzaro are being sued by a DEP employee for violating his civil rights. He says his supervisors retaliated against him for speaking out about things at work. The suit claims that Catanzaro, get this, ordered plaintiff to chauffeur another employee to and from his home in a New York City DEP car. Then, last September, Catanzaro allegedly assaulted plaintiff and forcibly removed the computer that had been assigned to plaintiff.
Sources tell us the employee was pushed up against the wall. And if all that's true, it's not the kind of behavior you'd expect from some elite Homeland Security unit. So we wanted to ask Catanzaro about it.
You're being sued for having a confrontation with an employee.
But the lawsuit is just one of the problems the unit has.
Can you tell me why the FBI is looking into your organization?
Yes, the FBI. Sources say right after the alleged computer tussle between Catanzaro and the employee was questioned by the FBI NYPD Joint Terrorism Task Force as a possible terror suspect.
Sources tell us it's believed that someone inside that unit made false accusations against the employee. And sources tell us that those allegations were almost immediately cleared up. But the task force continues to nose around this unit that receives all that Homeland Security money.
Can you tell me how that screwy overtime works in your operation? How do you wind up with all that overtime?
As for Fauzi, in December, the very morning after our first story aired about him, this job vacancy notice was posted. The DEP created a new position to oversee Fauzi and his unit. They hired a highly respected NYPD captain named Gregory Hogue to run the show. 9 days after the new boss took over, the unit responded, along with the NYPD, to a white powder scare at the Wall Street Journal. Although we don't know exactly what came down there, that same night, Fauci was canned from the unit. This memo says that Fauci has been relieved of all duties and responsibilities.
You've been working there a long while. Is there any way, I'm just trying to get your side. Is there any way you'll talk to me?
Enzo Catanzaro continues to work in the special unit in charge of your safety.
Now, Mustafa Fauci was kicked out of the special unit, but he remains a DEP employee. The DEP will not tell us exactly what the $9 million in Homeland Security is used for, citing security reasons, but insiders tell us bringing this Captain Hogue over from the NYPD to keep an eye on things is the very best thing that could have happened. I'm John Deutzman, Fox 5 News.
It's quite a story, and John says this whole investigation began with a tip from a viewer. So if you have something you would like Fox 5 to investigate, just call our tip line 1-877-TELL-FOX5, or you can go to our website, click on the section that says Investigations.